Today's lesson is called Plus Talk. Love is in the air. Hello, everyone. My name is Jeff.
I am Roger, and today, of course, with the approach of Valentine's Day, we're talking about a love story here. And when love starts, of course, you need to have two people willing to get the fire burning, okay? They need to turn on the fires of love in order for love to happen. And most of us, of course, have to do something to make that happen. And as we found out last time, of course, Lauren is sweet on Henry. She has a thing for him, and so she's trying to figure out a way to get closer to him, and eventually maybe they can start dating.
There you go. And you know what? They had found some common ground. Both of them want to go to Europe and study languages and stuff like that. So they're into the same type of things, and that's a good start if you want a relationship to work. So there you go. The first part was called Seeking Advice from a Friend. Jessica gave Lauren some good advice, and then Lauren took the advice, followed through, talked to Henry. Where will this go next? Well, we just don't know. We'll have to wait until after we finish our short break.
3. Asking somebody out. When the project is finished, Lauren decides to ask Henry out.
Now that we've finished the project, we should celebrate.
Sounds good. What did you have in mind?
Well, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Do you want to go out on a date?
Wow, I never knew you had feelings for me. You scarcely talked to me before this project.
I've had a crush on you for months now, but I've been too shy to tell you. I finally worked up the nerve.
Well, I would love to go out with you. Why don't we do dinner?
Dinner sounds great. You can surprise me with the choice of restaurant.
You're on.
大家好，第一部分我们看到副词 scarcely 指几乎不，几乎没有，像是 I woke up late and scarcely had time to get dressed and go to work. 我睡过头了，差点没时间换衣服出门上班。或是 Thomas had scarcely sat down in the theater when the fire alarm went off. Thomas 才刚要在剧场里坐下，火灾警报器就响了。再来，我们看到片语 work or get up the nerve 表示鼓起勇气，也可以讲成 work up one's nerve. 例如 Sadie tried to get up the nerve to jump into the cold water. Sadie 试着鼓起勇气跳进冷水里。或是 It took a few minutes for the shy boy to work up his nerve to ask the pretty girl out. 这个害羞的男孩花了几分钟的时间才鼓起勇气约那个漂亮的女孩出去。另外，补充几个包含 nerve 的片语。第一 try somebody's nerves 表示考验某人的脾气或耐心。举例来说 Everett has been trying my nerves all day and I wish he'd just leave me alone. Everett 这整天一直在烦我，我希望他可以让我清静一下。第二 get on one's nerves 表示使某人烦躁。例如 I didn't invite Kenny to the party because he always gets on my nerves. 我没有邀请 Kenny 来参加派对，因为他总是会让我觉得很烦。第三 have the nerve 表示胆敢做某事。我们可以说 Jack doesn't have the nerve to break up with his girlfriend. Jack 没有胆量跟女友分手。
Okay, let's start talking about the first part of today's lesson. When you are sweet on somebody, well, eventually you're going to have to ask them out, okay? To go out on a date with them. Usually this is the guy asking, but, nowadays sometimes the girls ask the guys out as well. And this is what you need to do. You need to ask somebody out on a date, okay? You can go see a movie together. Maybe you can go have some coffee together or have a meal or something like that. There are various things you can do on a first date, okay? So here, asking somebody out, When the project is finished, Lauren decides to ask Henry out. So remember, Lauren got together with Henry working on a class assignment. They were in the same group for the group project. And so now they've gotten to know each other a little better. And now it's time for Lauren to make her move. She's going to ask Henry out. And don't worry too much, girls, because guys are very flattered when a girl tries to ask them out, okay? So don't worry about this. He won't think you're too aggressive or anything like that. Of course, I was asked out on dates by girls in the past a couple of times, not very many times, but when they asked me out, I thought it was really sweet.
Me too. I was asked out by a girl one time, and it was very sweet. Did anything come of the relationship? No, but still the experience was pretty cool. Anyways, asking somebody out. Now, Lauren says, now that we've finished the project, we should celebrate. And Henry says, sounds good. What did you have in mind? There is the question.
Yep, it sounds like Henry is receptive to this idea. Yes, we should celebrate. We should get together and maybe have a meal or something or go party or something like that. And here Henry has a question. Yeah, what were you thinking of? What did you have in mind? What's your idea as to how to celebrate? Well, Lauren says, well, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Valentine's Day is happening very soon. Like if today is the 9th of February, then the 14th of February is only 5 days away. It's going to be Valentine's Day very soon. Soon it will be Valentine's Day. So yes, indeed, Valentine's Day is right around the corner. And here she is. She's plucking up her courage. She's coming out and asking him out. She says, do you want to go out on a date? No, I'm not talking about getting together with about 6 or 7 other classmates or something like that. It's just going to be you and me on an innocent little romantic date.
There you go. What should we do to celebrate? Oh, I know. We can go out on a date. Now, Henry says, wow, I never knew you had feelings for me. I had no idea that you had a crush on me. You scarcely talked to me before this project. So they were kind of almost strangers, and then out of the blue, Lauren kind of invited Henry into the project, and they worked together, did a good job together, and now it all comes out. Lauren is in love with Henry. Well, maybe she's not in love, but she definitely has a crush on him, and she has now revealed her feelings. And Henry is kind of surprised. You scarcely talked to me before this project, i.e., you pretty much never talked to me before this.
Now, here we've got the word scarcely. That's an adverb. It just means something is very low in quantity, only just. Scarce, of course, is the adjective, which means there isn't a lot of something. Water is scarce in the desert, for example, or rain is scarce in the desert. So here, scarcely just means you barely talked to me before. You didn't really talk to me that much. You maybe said a few things to me here and there, but you never really had an actual conversation with me before this project. So, gee, how could you have had feelings for me when you didn't really even talk to me before? How do you know what kind of person I am?
Yeah, that's actually a good point. How did she know that Henry was a worthwhile individual if she'd never talked to the guy? Anyways, though, Lauren starts to explain herself. She says, I've had a crush on you for months now, but I've been too shy to tell you. I finally worked up the nerve. I finally got the courage there. I finally put on a brave front. And Henry says, well, I would love to go out with you. Why don't we do dinner? I.e., let's go get a meal together. Just you and me.
Why don't we do dinner? Indeed, you could say, why don't we have dinner? Or why don't we go out for dinner? But this is kind of a slang way to say this. Why don't we do dinner? Why don't we do a movie? You could say those sorts of things. And this is Henry's suggestion. Okay, great. We can go out on a date together. It doesn't mean we're going to get married or anything. You know, we have to take these things one step at a time. So we'll start with dinner. We'll go have a meal at a restaurant someplace.
Lauren says, well, hey, dinner. That sounds great. You can surprise me with the choice of restaurant, which I imagine will probably be an Italian restaurant given Henry's liking of all things Italian. And Henry says, you know what? You're on. That means, hey, we're going on a date. It's official. We're not a couple yet, but we are about to go out on a date. How nice. All right, folks, with that, it's time for us to take a short break, but don't go away. We'll be right back after this.
4. Planning a first date. Henry is planning the first date and asks Jessica for help. Lauren and I have our first date coming up, and I want to do something special.
How delightful. Where are you going?
I thought I would take her to a French restaurant. Do you know of any?
Yes, she's always talking about this place called Bistro 34. It's intimate, so it's perfect for a first date.
Great. Also, do you think it's appropriate to buy her a gift? I don't want to come across as being too forward.
I don't like giving gifts on the first date. If the date goes well, you can always buy her something later.
That's true. Thanks a lot.
第二部分我们看到形容词 delightful 指令人开心、愉快的，像是 Simon's early return was a delightful surprise for the whole family. Simon 提早返家对全家是一个令人愉悦的惊喜。另外，补充2个包含形容词字尾 ful 的单字。字尾 ful 表示有点点点性质，充满点点点的。第一 shameful 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 指可耻的、丢脸的，像是 It was shameful how everybody ignored the homeless man. 大家都无视那名流浪汉，真是令人不齿。第二 plentiful 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 指丰富的、充分的。举例来说 Although the farmers did not have a lot of money, food was plentiful. 虽然这些农夫没有很多钱，但食物却是很充足的。再来，我们看到单字 intimate 这个字是形容词，指形容地方温馨的、宁静宜人的、私人的、亲密的。例如 The restaurant has an intimate atmosphere that is perfect for couples. 那家餐厅有一种非常适合情人的私密舒适气氛。或是 The tabloid published intimate details about the two celebrities' relationship. 八卦小报刊登了那2位名人恋情亲密的细节。最后，我们看到形容词 appropriate 指适当的、恰当的，像是 The children were told that talking with their mouths full was not appropriate dinner behavior. 那些小孩被教导满嘴食物时说话是不礼貌的用餐行为。
Okay, so now we are planning a first date. Remember where we left off? Lauren had asked Henry out for a date, and then she said, well, you can pick the restaurant. And Henry likes that idea. He said, you're on. It's a deal. Let's do it. And so now, of course, they're planning their first date. Okay, so they're going someplace for dinner here. That's the idea. And Henry is planning the first date and asks Jessica for help. So I guess he's looking to Jessica for some suggestions here about where to go on their first date, especially which restaurant to choose.
There you go. Planning a first date. Henry is planning the first date. And again, Jessica seems to be the go-to person for advice. Henry says, Lauren and I have our first date coming up, and I want to do something special. And Jessica says, How delightful, how wonderful, how great. This is fantastic. Where are you going?
That's right. You might need to take her someplace special. If you take her to the night market or something to have an oyster omelet or something, that might be a little too cheap or something for a first date. It's tasty. You know, I like an oyster omelet as much as the next guy does, but still for a first date, it's got to be something more special than that. So yeah, where are you going? And Henry says, I thought I would take her to a French restaurant. Yes, the French, of course, are very proud of their language and of their culture. And, of course, the French are very proud of their food. Okay, so that does sound like a good choice here. Take her to a French restaurant. But, you know, there might not be many French restaurants in the city. Do you know of any? Can you recommend a French restaurant in this city?
And by the way, I'm liking this surprise. Remember, Henry is big into Italian stuff, so I figured, you know what, he's going to take her to the best Italian place in town. But Henry's thinking, you know what, Lauren, she's into French food, so let's take her to a French restaurant. How nice. Anyways, do you know of any good French restaurants there, Jessica? Please let me know. And Jessica says, yes, she's always talking about this place called Bistro 34. It's intimate, so it's perfect for a first date. So there you go. You probably sit at a small table, and there's a white linen tablecloth, and maybe it's dark in there and only candlelight. It's a very intimate setting where you guys can get to know one another and really talk heart to heart. Further, the word bistro, that just means a small restaurant, pretty much. That's all there is to it.
Yep, and it's from French, so if you see the word bistro, it's probably going to be a French cafe or a French restaurant. And 34 here probably just refers to the address, number 34 Zhongxiao East Road or whatever. And yes, Jessica says it's intimate, so it's perfect for a first date. Intimate means it's kind of romantic. The lights are low. There's soft music playing. Maybe they even have someone playing Satie on the piano or something like that. So yes, it's a very intimate, very romantic, and it's a great place for a first date. I would just say, at least me, my opinion is that's probably going a little bit too far on a first date. Yeah, I think the night market is a better choice.
And Henry says, great. Also, do you think it's appropriate to buy her a gift? I don't want to come across as being too forward. So, does it make sense to bring a gift? Help me out here, Jessica. Does this make sense given the context?
And he says, yeah, I don't want to come across or I don't want to seem like I'm too forward or maybe too aggressive here. So yeah, to come across just means how people perceive you the first time they meet you. Like a lot of times when I meet people for the first time, I come across as kind of crude and kind of uncultured and things like that. But later on, when they get to know me, they realize I'm a really high-class kind of guy.
Anyways, Jessica says, I don't like giving gifts on the first date. If the date goes well, you can always buy her something later. Again, this is good advice. You're already buying her dinner, let's say. You don't need to also bring some gifts. Maybe some flowers or something like that, but you probably don't need to bring her a Swiss watch or anything like that. That would probably be a bit too much. And Henry says, Jessica, you are so wise. That's true. Thanks a lot for your advice. Anyways, folks, that brings to a close this month's Plus Talk Dialogue lesson, and it's now time to hear from the Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在课文第一部分的对话中， Lauren 鼓起勇气要约 Henry 出去。他说 Valentine's Day is right around the corner. Do you want to go out on a date? 情人节就快到了，你想出去约会吗？好 ，around the corner 字面意思是就在转角处，它可以用来表达就在附近，或是像文中的用法来比喻说即将发生就要来临的意思。好像3月有一个节日是圣派翠克节，那它是在3月17号庆祝的，那我们其实就可以说 St. Patrick's Day is just around the corner， 圣派翠克节就快到了。好，另外 corner 除了指街角转角，它也可以引申用来指困境，像 in a tight corner 字面意思是位于死角，它就是用来比喻陷入困境。还有像 paint oneself into a corner， 当我们在刷油漆，你漆到最后把自己困在墙角，你又不能踏到那些刚漆好的地板上，而这样的用语就是用来表达把自己逼到墙角，陷入困境的意思。好，另外如果是Turn the corner 则是用来指情况有所改变，脱离困境，扭转颓势，可以表达说那种出现转机的意思。例如 It looks like the country's tourism has turned the corner， 那个国家的旅游业似乎已经扭转颓势，情况好转了。好，那我们再来补充2个跟 corner 相关的片语。第一个要补充的是 stand in somebody's corner。好，同学们如果有看过那种拳击比赛的画面，在这比赛过程中，当拳手他中间要短暂休息时，他的教练啊、助手等等，通常就会站在他所站的那个擂台角落的后方，给他支持加油。所以说 stand in somebody's corner 后来就常常用来表达站在某人这一边，支持某人的意思。第二个补充的片语是 cut corners。 好，它原本是指说转弯的时候尽可能的抄近路来缩短路程，那么引申用来表达说可能为了节省时间或金钱而便宜行事，常常用来表达说贪图省事啊、贪小便宜、偷工减料、走捷径的意思。好，要特别注意的是片语当中的 corners 它固定要用复数形，那么后面还可以接 on 加名词，像 cut corners on safety 就是用来表达在安全方面便宜行事。我们也可以造这样的例句 You should never cut corners when it comes to workplace safety。 说到工作环境安全，绝对不能贪图省事、偷工减料。好，以上是今天重点整理，我们回顾今天的单字吧。
Scarcely. When her boss promoted her, Debbie could scarcely contain her joy. Delightful. Shelley just spent the most delightful day at the amusement park. Intimate. Jane's choice of furniture makes her home feel very intimate to visitors. Appropriate. Jeremy ordered red wine, but white wine would have been a more appropriate choice.
Well, everyone, today's article has come to an end, and I sure hope you guys enjoyed reading and learning along with us. I am Jeff.
I am Roger.
See you next time.